we may actually only have one news video today because there's not a lot to talk about. But either way, we got some more news from the Royal Rumble with Rhea Ripley and Cody Rhodes both sustaining minor injuries during the match. As I believe, from what I remember, Cody Rhodes sprained his eardrum, dislocated his eardrum, did something to his eardrum during the match, and Rhea Ripley dislocated her knee and it went back in place, which is I can't imagine dislocating anything and continuing to do what Rhea Ripley did on Saturday at the Royal Rumble. So applause to her and Cody for sustaining injuries and lasting it out. Also, Cody during the press conference post Royal Rumble put over Gunther big time, and also put over Walter, who Gunther, aka Gunther, when he was on the Indies, as Cody spent some time over in Europe during his pre-WWE return, and I'm not even talking about AEW, I'm talking about before AEW, so like 2016 to 2018 when he was on the Independents. That's the word, Independence. But, neither one of them are going to miss any time, and it wasn't anything as far as as far as severity, but what it does puts a testament towards the adrenaline that must be going through every person's bodies during the Royal Rumble match, because, frankly, could you expect anything less from those individuals when they're in the ring and having all those people, especially in a position like you would have in the Alamo Dome in San Antonio like they were on Saturday? Can you imagine how it felt being in that position on Saturday, or how it feels being in the Royal Rumble? I can tell you from my position, I can't, and I probably never will, but I'm also one of those people that will never feel what it's like, or hopefully will never feel what it's like to dislocate a body part. So props to Cody and Rhea for going through pain that I can't imagine, for the extent of becoming the Royal Rumble winner. Speaking of the Royal Rumble, though, Cody had a special guest, and I'm not just talking about Brandy, I'm talking about his friend, Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks, AEW superstar, was backstage at the Royal Rumble with Cody, wishing him luck and rooting for his friend at the Royal Rumble. There's really nothing to say outside of showing the, I guess, legit friendship, would you say, that Cody and Ricky Starks still have, and that Cody and Ricky Starks have. I just wonder if Cody would be able to reciprocate it if Ricky was in a similar position, based on the fact that Cody used to be a high-ranking executive in AEW. I don't want to say would there be ill will, but would Cody be able to be in the position that Ricky's in, being backstage as a guest? I guess it really depends on how Cody left AEW, and if Cody was in a position to return as a guest, would he? Or would it need to be a little bit further down the road, where the past becomes the past and not a year ago? If that makes sense. To get to all the Royal Rumble festivities in one video, apparently the return of Pat McAfee was kept as top secret, to where the reaction that we got from Michael Cole and Corey Graves at the outset of the show, because Pat McAfee returned at the Royal Rumble after, I believe, about 4 or 5 months away. Pat McAfee returned at the Royal Rumble to a big pop, and one of the people that gave him that glorious return, and I'm not just ironic that I'm saying it as Robert Roode return appears, I should say, that one of the people that gave him an ever so glorious return was his good friend Michael Cole, as Michael Cole was ecstatic to see his good friend Pat McAfee back in WWE. It is entirely possible, with football season wrapping up, that Pat McAfee could be returning very soon, and WWE could be shaking up the commentary once again, as WWE shook up the commentary last year when Pat McAfee went away to do College Game Day, with Wade Barrett coming up to the main roster and Corey Graves shifting over to SmackDown. Corey Graves shifting over to Raw. Wade Barrett coming over to do SmackDown, and Booker T going down to NXT. So it is entirely possible that WWE could shake up the commentary again with football season wrapping up, and likely that means that we will see Pat McAfee back on SmackDown. But the question is, as Booker T even mentioned it a couple of weeks ago, that his stay on NXT was supposed to be temporary. So with that being the case, does this mean that Wade Barrett returns to commentary to join Vic Joseph on NXT, and then Pat McAfee returns to SmackDown? I guess we will find out in the coming weeks what's going to happen on that front. A little bit of information, which actually we're going to be shifting to a second news video, but an interesting note to end this video on is that Sami Zayn spoke about it in his Sami spoke about in his interview recently with Ariel Helwani. He said before Triple H took over, he was kept away from Roman Reigns. From what I remember, if I remember correctly, before he started as the Honorary Uce and his realm into the bloodline, or his dip into the bloodline, Sami was doing the locker room leader gimmick. And then slowly but surely he started being integrated into the bloodline as Triple H took over creative. And as they would say, the rest is history. I don't know if necessarily this means you can credit... I mean, I guess you could credit Triple H to a degree for taking the step to integrate Sami into the bloodline story, but I don't know how much of it, like, you can't give all the credit to Triple H. You got to give a lot of the credit to Roman Reigns and Sami Zayn and Jey Uso for the chemistry that was put on display during those segments. But I guess you could give Triple H some of the credit for being the one that pulled the trigger to start integrating Sami into the bloodline story. But with that being said, we got another news video to get to. So with that being said, I will see you then in the next news video.